Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar for the presentation of the PFC Luxembourg system in preparation for the public consultation for the next re-endorsement assessment process. I'm Ambra Scodro from PFC, and I'm generally responsible for managing the assessment of the various national systems. And today I'm pleased to have Michael with us, who will then present the system. So Michael will deliver a presentation. After that, there will be time for question and answer. And this is just a reminder that this webinar will be recorded and then published on the YouTube channel of PFC International. That's all from me. So Michael, over to you.
Yes, thank you and good afternoon. I thought that this was a webinar for the people who were coming during the tender, who won the tender for our revision. So I don't know if Ms. Diaz, what her role is in that, but nevertheless, I'll just try to share you my screen. And I hope you can see that.
Yes.
Can you? Do you see it in like only the screen presentation?
Now it is in presentation mode, so I can see a slide with a PFC logo on the left.
Yeah, okay, but that's all you see.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to give you a short overview about Luxembourg itself or its forestry sector, about PFC in Luxembourg, and then we'll get to the standard setting report and the major changes we have developed in that. So as you probably know, Luxembourg is a very small country, but still nevertheless, we have even smaller structure in forestry, as this picture shows quite well, we think. You have small plots of land interspersed with agriculture. We don't really have huge forest areas. There's a constant change between public forest, municipal forest, governmental forest, so owned by the state. And there's a huge microcosm of different stands joining next to each other. So we kind of have we don't really have like big stands of the same species. They don't exist because it's all so small. So everybody's doing their own way of doing things, which leads to a really great diversity in structure and species as well. It's roughly 90,000 hectares of the country, 35% of the national area. Should be roughly the European area average. Is covered by forest, and a bit more than half of this is private property. So we're waiting for new numbers. It might have gone down a bit, but we should at least still be beyond 50%. And most of the private forest is in the north. So on this map, you see the green areas are privately owned forest, and the brownish areas are publicly owned forest. So there is a clear differentiation. We do work in both. Sorry, not in. We work in the entire country, but we only work in private forest, of course. Yeah, this region is called the Ösling, and all of these forests, they have been privately owned. They are passed down between family members from one generation to the next one. Even if people inherit it, and even if they don't have interest in forestry or active forest management, they still usually keep it for nostalgic reasons, at least. And then we were lucky enough to have this statistics, although it is quite old. It shows very clearly the structure of privately owned forests. So you see that most of them, they have between 0 and 3 hectares. just to give an idea. And while it says the number of individual owners, but I was told that this is just owners that can be separated. So one owner in this statistic might still represent, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 parties that inherited the forest. Back in the days, don't ask me when, in the inheritance process, properties were cut up to give equal parts to all the different inheritance, which leads to this microstructure that we have today. And I think at least for the last 50 years, this stopped, and so it's passed down in division. So it's not cut up anymore. The land borders stay the same. It's just the number of owners by parcel. They might be quite high. I've seen situations where there were 12 people involved in owning 1 hectare, all with different parts on it. So one had 1/2, the other ones had 1/8, the other ones 1/12, and even less than that. So of course, this small property sizes they gives us makes us problems with marketing of the timber. Just as a matter of scale, we still lack a lot of forest road, and with all the polemic about road construction, it has been very restrictive in latest years. There is limited knowledge of forest owners. We have the urban forest owner situation, as I think everywhere in the world, it's becoming more and more. So people don't live anymore where their forests are. They live in apartments. They don't have tractors or chainsaws. They don't need the timber for themselves. So they kind of keep on relying on external parties, but then they do not trust these external parties for several reasons. And we have a huge amount of laws that need to be respected while managing forests. There's nature law, there's forest law, then there's regulations, which are all kind of hard to track. If you really want to get into it, you need to be almost a lawyer to be really sure, and then even then you're not sure. So that's why our organization, Let's Beuer Privatbusch, exists. It is there to support the forest owners. And so they we work in the interest of forest owners and nobody else. We are supported by government to be able to exist, to do this role. We have a really good cooperation with them. And I myself, I work for this organization. I do not work for PFC. I actually have nothing to do with PFC. It's just that PFC certification kind of falls into my job description, and since nobody makes a real difference between PFC as an organization and the group management here, that's why kind of everything with PFC falls to me. So actually, it's kind of a side gig and a one-man show. Just to give you this information. That's why I might not be in every detail all the time, because I have 10,000 other things to do, and this kind of runs on the side. So PFC in Luxembourg as an NGO was founded in 2002. Back in the days, PFC Council was based in Luxembourg, even, but still, of course, we had a national organization. We had the first scheme adopted in 2005. At the moment, the organization has 10 members. We absolutely depend on government money to be able to exist, because PFC Council costs huge amounts of money. Accreditation costs money. While the audits they should be covered by the group management, but they run under dependencies of PFC. But so this is also a financial burden. So it's a lot of costs, and it has just a very limited area of forest to start with that could even be certified. And a limited number of companies as well as an NGB. We just cannot get that many to participate just because they did not fall under our competencies. So that's why we don't have a real growth situation. And of course, because of this, PFC Luxembourg has no staff. We don't see this anytime changing soon. The PFC system, just to give you a short overview, we have just one group for sustainable forest management, and this group is co-managed by our organization, responsible then for the private owners, and the State Forest Administration responsible for the public forest owners. At the moment, we have the INSERTCO as a certification body. It's a German organization because we don't have any national certification bodies. No companies here are interested in it, and our national accreditation is also saying that it does not have capacities to do this. So at the moment we run under this accreditation by DAX, which is when we get this revision done, absolutely not sure if we can continue this because they have been an absolute nightmare, and we really feel left alone with this situation as well. Because nobody here understands the principle of accreditation, and if DAX doesn't want to do it, we need to go to either a French or an Austrian accreditation, but then we need certification bodies who can do this as well. And because we are so small, they're not really interested in this either. So it's not ideal situation at the moment. We have 119 private forest owners. It's a more or less stable situation for the last years. The area has grown. But it's every year we might get a few people to join, but we also have a few people who leave. We have sold their forest that they don't see any advantage in PFC. To this day, I am still asking the PFC Council what the advantage of certification is. I still have not received any information on this. In Luxembourg, you do not get any benefits for certified timber. So it's kind of a lot of paperwork for that people don't even read, for not a lot of result. The biggest part is the public forest. They are incentivized by a national subsidy scheme to participate in this. That's why we have luckily 73 public forest owners who make up the bulk of the certified area. And I think with all this together combined, we almost we should be have passed the 45% of the area this year. We have 20 COC certificates with 27 companies in total. We have one group for certified for small and middle-sized enterprises. That took off quite well. But even here, it's not really. It was a good start, but we're not moving forward as we should. And then we'll come to the standard setting report. Our last scheme was endorsed in 2019. Back then, we were kind of the experiment of PFC Council to start an online endorsement process that absolutely did not really work. I think that's why it took quite a long time, but we got everything done. When we were done, we had a lot of problems with ducks, and luckily we had Corona basically because that allowed us to kind of get everything going. But it was not a smooth process, and we're not sure that everything will go smoothly in this revision. We started this review in 2023. And the aim back then was to apply for re-endorsement by May 2025. We did not quite meet this. We were a few months late with handing in, but everything was sent in at the end of July. And we were basing our work on our standard setting procedures to have an open and transparent progress. And we respected this as a guideline. That was a good thing to have, so you know where you want to go and what to do, like a big roadmap for the revision. That was good. Our technical committee was established by our board at the beginning of January 2024. And we had three categories that we retained. We had 12 or 15 organizations that participated in this process. Although I have to say most of them did not every time show up for every physical meeting, but they all read the documents and voted on it, so that was good. We had just three meetings, two in spring of 2024 and one in autumn, discussing all these documents. We never received any complaint or appeal or sustained opposition in the standard setting process in the voting. It was all going smoothly. After this, we had a public consultation in summer as well. We did not receive anything during this time either as a comment. And to get on to the main changes, of course, back then, the biggest subject was EUDR, what to do. So we took over these definitions into the standard. Now, as we learned a few days ago, this might have all been a lot of trouble for nothing. Hopefully, that it's going to be like a bad dream in 2 years. We hope that the Commission really comes back to its senses. We have management plans are required now above 20 hectare. Before it was 50 hectare. And the reason for this is that if you have more than 20 hectare, you need a management plan anyway in order to be able to receive subsidies. So we just matched this to promote the use of subsidies as well. We did not have that many changes. It's still a lot of tax. There's still a lot of things in there that make no sense at all to me. That are requirements apparently by PFC Council. I don't know how anybody in a practical audit will check these things. To me, it's impossible to check them. There are things in there. You need to have an organizational structure and you need to document. I don't know. I would like to have a short standard that people can respect and that you can actually check. I don't think we manage that. Apparently, if we don't put these things in, we will not get endorsement. So we put them in the text, and then they are there. So we regulated also the use of iron horses. That was an external factor that is not coming from the council because people want to have the flexibility to use them. I don't know if everybody knows what these iron horses are. They're these small machines that operate on chains, and they can be used for skidding or for felling assistance or for planting preparation. So we regulated this, but and allowed them up to a certain weight category. Then the hunters, they wanted to put in that game protection measures, especially fencing, of course, with wire fencing, need to be evacuated and maintained. That was not in the standard before. Should be obvious, but it's starting to become a problem. We had a lot of bark beetle since 2018, and following that, there were loads of plantations being set up. Which all kind of need fencing and in order to protect them from the game animals. And of course, now that they are the first ones are starting to lose their functionality and they become a danger in the forest, and they need to be removed. At least on the certification, they need to be removed, and we will be checking this in audits on the ground, of course. And we gave also an updated list of legislation in the new forest standard because there have been several changes. The list is becoming bigger, but it's of course impossible to fit in every legal aspect of it. We just have to orientate people and to give them good guidance. In case there's a special question, they will just contact us directly, and we'll figure this out. And with this, I already come to my end, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mika. I just want to invite the attendees, if they have any question, to eventually raise their hand.
Yeah, of course. That's fine.
That's okay. In the meantime, I just had a general question, to be honest. Well, first of all, very good presentation. I think you really capture what is the national context, and also what are the struggles to implement and even kind of invite owners to approach the certification. I've just got a question out of curiosity, to be honest. I mean, what's the main market for the certified timber coming from your country? Is it an in-house market, or is it
Nobody
export?
cares about it, basically. It's I think we just slip in this 30% that you of material non-certified material that you can add. So I've never had a contractor ask me, is this timber certified? We had a big annual exchange where we have like 3 or 4 speakers with our association with 200 people attending. And then we had a sawmill owner who just told us this PFC is it's not any advantage for them. It's only paperwork for them and costs, of course. We have a national procurement policy since 2014 that is not really being applied. FSC jumped on this opportunity back then because they had loads of money and stuff. And of course, they jumped on it to get companies to become FSC certified. But since the policy is not really being enforced, nobody cares about it. It's not a problem. And all the companies, most companies that buy timber or use timber in a public procurement process, they will just show the invoice from the sawmill that they have. We only have 2 national sawmills that produce very small for small markets and local markets, not for export. So it's not for them a big thing either.
Okay. And does this sawmill kind of a source from the certified forests of the country, or do they import timber, or
both?
both? Okay.
They will buy when they get the quality of the material that they need. But and they are both certified, luckily. But they say it's for these small public markets that can be them for them. But with the big national infrastructure projects, it's nothing for them. And most of the carpentry companies or these things, they will import their timber from outside anyway, usually from Germany or Belgium. And if somebody wants to look at a certificate from the timber, well, they use the certificate from their provider, and that's it.
Yeah, I do understand. Yeah, thanks. Well, unless there is any other question, I will thank you, not just for the presentation, but even to because of your role, because as you mentioned, this is not quite your first job, and you're kind of fitting your role within PFC out of all the other tasks you're doing. Of course, Luxembourg is still a very relevant country for us, so thank you very much for that. As said, this webinar will be anyway published on the PFC YouTube channel, and I will reassure you that usually the assessor will go and watch the recording later, so they will for sure have access to these.
So Ms. Diaz is not the assessor. Has the assessor been determined yet then?
No.
Okay.
The process will involve the public consultation to be launched, and that there will be a call for proposal out of the assessor list that we have on the website, and there will be a tendering approach. But I will stay in touch with you eventually, separately on that. Cool. Okay. Thank you very much again. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.